Welcome back to Snooze Doctor's channel. Today I'm going to be demonstrating, doing a tutorial on my arrangement for solo guitar and voice for Trick of the Tail by Genesis from the self-titled 1975 album. Perhaps you know the story, but when Peter Gabriel left Genesis, they were looking for a vocalist, lead vocalist, and so they were auditioning people with the material for Trick of the Tail. And every time someone would come in to audition, Phil would sing the song to them, so it familiarized them with the tune. And after auditioning 3 or 4 singers, I don't know how many, they finally decided, everybody in the band said, "Phil, you sound better than all these other guys, so why don't you be the lead vocalist?" So he reluctantly did. So that's how that came about. This arrangement is not terribly difficult for an advanced, kind of intermediate level fingerstyle player. It's not a difficult arrangement. There are some shortcuts that I made with chord voicings that were a little bit difficult to finger, and so I took some liberties with some of those and did some sort of shortcuts. But here we go, and hopefully you'll learn something today and be able to play this tune on your own, and love to hear your version of it. So here we go. I'll let you quickly tune up to my guitar, which is in standard tuning. The tutorial today and the way I did the song is the key is in E minor. Now on the record the key is in F sharp minor. So if you want to play along with the record, you'll have to take my arrangement, put the capo on fret 2, and obviously do the same things I'm doing. I have to lower most songs down to my vocal range because I have such a limited vocal range, so I had to lower it down to E minor to have any chance at all of singing it, and then it's still too high for me. Any song's too high for me, but so this is in E minor. So the intro goes. So let's break that down. You know, you have that melody. And then the chords behind it are just E minor, A minor, D major with an E in the bass. So da 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 da. So it's just E minor, A minor, D with the E in the bass, back to A minor, back to E minor. So the trick with this is that this part, that's all on the beat. But those are on the off beat. So that's the only tricky part of this intro, is that fact that those fall on the off beat. So I'm just using the top 4 strings here, and I'm playing E minor like this, and we're going to start just playing those 4 strings, and then we're just going to hit that. Now we have to come up to this part of the melody, and we're changing to the A minor chord at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna play, rather than play this for an A minor, all I'm gonna play of the A minor chord are the top 2 strings. That's all I'm gonna play because I have to hit this melody note right here. So it's gonna be like that. So going back to the E minor. So see how I hit that with the thumb, this with the 2 fingers here. So I'm just hitting those 2 on the top. And then we're going to go to the D chord with the E in the bass. And then we need to hit those notes again. I hit the A, the D string open to kind of transition between these chords. So now here's where I've already taken a shortcut, is that if I wanted to keep this going, I would do that. But I'm leaving out that top part on these notes because I kind of want to emphasize those, and I don't think it suffers from leaving that one beat out of the top. So I'm interrupting this pattern just to play these notes. So that's all there is to the intro. So when it starts the verse, the piano and the bass are doing that. And I tried to think of some way that I could incorporate that into the chords, but it was just too difficult, so I decided to leave that out and just focus on the chords and singing the melody rather than trying to do that piano bass part during the verse. That's pretty difficult. So the chords in the verse are the same as the intro. They're E minor, A minor, D with the E in the bass. So it goes, bored of his life in the city of gold, he left and let nobody know. So what we're doing here is we're playing an E minor triad in this position, and then we're playing an A minor chord in this position, and then we're playing that D with the E in the bass. Bored of his life in the city of gold, he left and let nobody know. And now we're going to play an A major. One of the beautiful things of their composing was just doing all these crazy chord progressions that shouldn't work but do work. Bored of his life in the city of gold, he left and let nobody know. Gone with the towers he had known as a child, along with the dream of a life. Alright, so that gets us to the end of the first verse. E minor, A minor, D with the E in the bass, back to E minor, and then A major. He followed the wide open road. Alright, so here we're playing a B chord, an E chord, and then an F sharp major chord. But I'm just playing these parts. I'm not playing the bass notes. I want to save the bass notes for later to make it a little bit more dramatic. So B major triad, followed by E major triad, followed by an F sharp major. He followed the wide open road, the blanket arcade, and then we're changing this to a E flat minor chord. That's what this is. Same as here, E flat minor. Just using a different inversion. Let's go over that again. He followed the wide open road, the blanket arcade. So we're just adding that note. In search of another to share in his life. No way. Everyone looks so strange to him. So let's go over that slowly. Followed the wide open road, the blanket arcade, in search of another. I'm using my thumb here to fret this. It's just a F sharp major chord. Another to share, hitting the low E, and this is just an E triad. Now the bass on the record keeps walking down. It'd be lovely to be able to do that on acoustic guitar, but you're limited by that's as far as you can go on the low side. So we can't go lower than the open E string. So we're going to have to put the bass up here now, the bass notes. Another to share in his life. So this is the E flat minor chord again. And then I'm not sure what chord this is, but it has a D flat in the bass. And then we're just fretting these top three strings on the 6th fret. And then the next chord is a little tricky. It's this B flat, it's a A flat chord with a 3rd in the bass. The way to think of this chord is just to think of this chord that you use all the time with a G chord, right? With a third in the bass. We're all familiar with that. Move that up 1 fret. A little tricky to fret, but not too bad. And then we're going to play a B chord. So let's go over that again. Rutherford is sharing his life. E minor, E flat minor. No way. And then B chord. And now we're going to go up to a D flat minor chord. Everyone look. And then this is an E chord with a B in the bass. You want that note in the bass. And then we're back to the F sharp major chord. Another is sharing his life. No way. Everyone looks so strange to him. He's sharing his life nowhere. Everyone looks so strange to him. Okay, that's the end of the first verse. So now we're on to the chorus. And the chorus is based out of D flat minor. That's a D minor chord, D flat minor. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to fret the whole thing with my index finger, like this. They got no horns and they got no tail. So all I'm doing is playing the top strings along with the bass, top 3 strings along with the bass, and then I'm putting 2 fingers down here on the 12th fret and the 11th fret on these 2 strings. So all I'm doing is concentrating once again on these top 3 strings with the bass. So, got no horns and they got no tail. Alright, now here comes probably the trickiest part of the whole song, is this part. Don't even know of our existence. So those are the top triads are just E, B, A, back to B, back to E. Which would be simple if we just wanted to do that alone. But the trick is the bass that Mike Rutherford is playing goes like this. Slower. So the trick was trying to put those together. those triads with the ascending bass. So here's how I worked around that. Well, the first chord, once again, coming out of here would be no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. So if the first bass note is here and the first triad is that E, see, that's going to be a pretty difficult fingering there. So I opted not to do this because I just couldn't transition from here to that chord. If you can, that's awesome, but I just can't transition from this and quickly get to that chord. So what I did was cheat just a little bit and just play this F sharp minor 7, 9 like this, because I can get to this chord, but I just can't get to that one. So that's going to be our first chord after this part. And then we're going to play that B triad, and that's our bass note now. So the first two chords will be which is a flat minor 7 chord. Once again, this chord. Now we're just going to go down to an A chord, playing A in the bass, and these two. And then we can just play that B triad with the B in the bass. And now we're going to play that E triad with this in the bass. Second string, 4th fret. And now we need to play the B triad again, except with this note in the bass. So now we're going to play the B chord like this, except we're going to put our pinky here. And then we're going to play the A chord with the E in the bass here. And then we're just going to move up to the B chord again with this F sharp in the bass. So let's put all that together. So that's allowed us to put these triads on top. With that ascending bass. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried and wept. And we're back to the second verse, which is of course the same as the first. Wept as they led him away to a cage. Beast that can talk read the sign. The preachers they pushed and they prodded his frame and questioned his story again. But soon, soon they grew bored of their prey. Beast that can talk, more like a freak or publicity stunt. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried, and now we're ready to the bridge. So that takes us up to the bridge. So the bridge starts on this G flat chord, except we're going to put this D flat triad over that note. And then the next chord, we're just going to and then the next chord, we're going to keep this F sharp in the bass the whole time, but we're moving through these triads. Just those. And if we put that with this F sharp in the bass, we get so let's see how that works. We're coming out. No horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Whoop. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried and wept and cried as he broke down the door. See, vocal range. And the door of the cage, broke down the door of the cage, and he marched on out. Broke down the door of the cage, and he marched on out. And then we're going down to a E major chord. And we're going to kind of do the same thing here. We're keeping the E in the bass, these triads. So let's go over that again. He broke down the door of the cage and he marched on out. Now here's where I've cheated a little bit with this chord, because I think the voicing is actually like I think that's actually the chord voicing that he plays on the piano. But I just wanted to give a little more chunk to put an E in the bass down here, right, rather than doing that. So it accomplishes about the same thing. So we'll go over that again. He broke down the door of the cage and he marched on out. Grabbed, and now we're to this F sharp 9 chord. on the piano, once again, he pedals this in the bass. But I found that to be too difficult because I would have to go like, and then somehow get down to here. I guess I could do it here. That was a lot of changing chords in awkward positions. So I like to just to play the bass on the first F sharp 9 chord. And then just play those without the bass. Because it was so much easier. He broke down the door of the cage and he marched on out. Grabbed the creature by the scruff of his neck, pointing out. And then we're to a B major chord, bar chord. And then we're doing this E flat major chord to follow. The next part of the bridge starts on A flat. There beyond the realm, C minor 7, of your weak imagination. So the A flat major, C minor 7, D flat, and back to A flat. There beyond the realm of your weak imagination lie the noble towers of my city, bright and gold. E flat major. Let me, and then suspend it. Let me, we're just doing the melody. Let me. Let's do that again. There beyond the realm of your weak imagination lie the noble towers of my city, bright and gold. Let me take you there. Now we're to a F major bar chord. And then we're going to go up here to this C minor 7 chord. Let me take you there, show you a living story. And then we're to B flat, and then we're to D flat. Let me show you others, back to the B major, such as me. Yeah, way out of my vocal range. Anything's out of my vocal range, right? So let's go over that again. There beyond the realm of your weak imagination lie the noble towers of my city, bright and gold. Let me take you there, show you a living story. Let me show you others such as me. Why did, and then here we're going to be doing the, remember these? The E, B, A, sequence, we're going to do that the same thing, but we're going to do it right here. And the first time we're going to have this F sharp, this F sharp in the bass droning. And here's where I've done another shortcut because that would be the next chord. Which is a little big stretch from my little tiny fingers. So I elected just to move the bass note down. So, and just do a regular A chord with the E in the bass. And then we're going to do the same triads with a B in the bass this time. I'm going to use my thumb. So, see that? First time, this note in the bass. Show you a living story. Let me show you others such as me. Why did I ever leave? And then we're back. Existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance in Crichton? And so we set out with the beast and his horns and his crazy description of home. After many days' journey, we came to a peak where the beast gazed abroad and cried out. We followed his gaze, and we thought that maybe we saw a spire of gold. No, a trick of the eye. That's all. But the beast was gone, and a voice was heard. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. So I think that'll probably get you through the song. I hope that's clear enough. If you would like a more concentrated attention to a certain portion of the song, I'd be happy to do that. Don't forget that in the lower corner of the YouTube screen player, there's a little gear there that you can click on, and you can slow the speed of any video down to either 0.75 speed or 0.5 speed. And that way the things I'm doing will be greatly slowed down, and you'll be able to see them much easier and clearer, I think. And it doesn't change the pitch, which is wonderful. Back in my day, growing up, learning guitar solos and things, you had to actually take the album and turn the album very slowly with your finger. And if you got it exactly at half the speed of normal, which was 36 revolutions per minute, something like that. So if you spun it at 18, you could actually lower the sound down by an octave and to half speed, and that's how I figured out so much stuff when I was a teenager. It was actually turning the album with my fingertip on the turntable. So it's much easier now with that little gear icon down in the YouTube player right hand lower corner. All right, that wraps it up, and see you next time. Thank you.